On this week's GTA 5 o'clock, GTA 5's Chiliad mystery is over. Conclusive proof about the Mount Chiliad mural. And GTA 5's magic window. It's all here on this week's GTA 5 o'clock. Hello and welcome to this week's GTA 5 o'clock. I'm your host James Jarvis, and this week I'm joined by Ian Wilson, Mr. Trophy.
Hello.
Hello Ian, big day today.
Yeah.
Yes, as we had news at the top of the show after 603 days, or a year and 7 months and 25 days, 124 episodes of GTA 5 o'clock. I think we can finally say the great Mount Chiliad mystery is finally over.
Yes.
Well, how can we say this? I hear the internet scream. Because basically it's out on PC, and it being out on PC equals mods, as we've covered for the last couple of weeks. And this week, a new mod has surfaced, which is specifically related to an all interiors mod. Yes. Now, this lets you visit locations in the game which aren't normally accessible in free roam. And there's quite an extensive list, right?
There is, yeah. Yeah, basically the mod puts all the interiors back into the main game world. You get little markers on the map appear, telling you where you can go. And basically it just sort of like unlocks the doors to all these areas so you can walk in at any point. And there are a few of the areas which you don't have, which doors aren't actually in there because they're either used in cutscenes or they don't actually appear in the final game. You can just kind of walk up to where the entrance would be and you get teleported inside.
Right. So we've got like the Life Invader offices, Tequila La, the comedy club that we covered last week on the show, Bahama Mamas. Yeah. You can go inside. There's the Humane Labs, the FIB building, the morgue, like all the things that you play in single player that you never go back to, basically.
Yeah, the things you get like one mission which you can go into and then it's locked off and disappears again.
Yeah, and there are a couple of other things that we don't think are used at all.
Yeah, there's a Sandy Shores Sheriff office as part of the mod in there. I don't remember going into there at any point during the game or seeing it in a cutscene, so that's potentially a new one. There's the janitor's apartment, which I think is to do when you're trying to get the key card to get into the FIB building. Yeah. That only appears in a cutscene, but you can go in on this mod and have a wander around. So there are, and I think there's also some of the set from the Fame or Shame mission as well in the stadium. I can't remember at what point when you enter the stadium the cutscene kicks in. But again, with this mod, you can go around and sort of look around the inside of the stadium and go right down to the set. Yeah.
So basically what this does is it loads in all of the areas which are in the game, whether they are triggered via getting to specific sections of the game or triggered via mission markers or anything like that. Yeah. So they are things that are used in the game that are basically just loaded in. So it means that you can go in and have a look at them when you're not doing that mission. Like they're all there. Now, the big thing about this is it's a pretty extensive list of all the interiors in the game. Like, it's everything. Yeah. It's everything that would be loaded in if you trigger something, everything would be loaded in if you achieve a certain rank, or anything that's going to be unlocked by doing other trigger points.
Yeah, and then also, as we mentioned before, stuff like the Bahama Mamas and the Comedy Club, stuff that doesn't even feature in the game, but is in there.
So stuff that's been modelled that, isn't necessarily used at all. Yeah. So with that in mind, we can probably say with almost 100% certainty, and I say almost, almost, because there's always a chance, that there is nothing behind the Mount Chiliad mural. Yeah. There's no jetpack in there. There's no hidden room. There's no interior where if you go in, it will teleport you to something else. Like, there's nothing. Like, these are all the interiors, and there isn't a room that looks like something with, you know, a plinth on where the jetpack would be there with lights on it, and everyone would be like, "Oh, amazing. There it is!" Yeah. Like, there's just nothing. It's just not there. Yeah. So I would say now that the hunt for things behind the Chiliad mural is over. Like,
yeah, it would seem to be. Yeah.
This is almost conclusive proof that that's it. There's nothing. There's no more mysteries. Yeah. So the only way that this can become a thing now is if Rockstar patch it in, which they are quite capable of doing.
Indeed, yeah.
So, I mean, and I think you said earlier off air that maybe that they knew this might happen, so they've taken it out for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. There's always the possibility that they thought this would happen, that somebody would go through the files and pull out every interior in there, and whether they actually maybe remove this that part from the PC version to start off with, at least, just to keep things going a bit longer. Whether it's maybe somehow coded in a different way or like super encrypted or something, and they found a way of hiding. But then you'd think why they would do that for that and not for any of these other interiors that were never supposed to be viewed either. So
yeah, well, you know, if you want a really big, better conspiracy,
go on.
What about the suggestion that I thought about this morning? That Rockstar knew that as soon as the PC version was released, that this kind of thing would happen. People would go in, people would mod it, people would crack into the code. So that is part of the reason for the delayed PC release, because delaying the PC release obviously helps you prolong this mystery hunt for as long as possible. And maybe got to the stage of going, hey, look, it's, you know, a year and a half since the game came out. We can end the mystery now. Let's put the PC version out. Now, obviously, that's not what happened.
No, that is some conspiracy theory.
But if you are a conspiracy nut, there's something for you to go and hang your hat on and pursue that.
Yeah, why not?
So yeah, basically, I think that's it for the jetpacks and all of the what does the mural mean? It means nothing. There's a possibility it was there, like some of the other stuff at one point, and it's been cut out, like we've said quite a lot on the show before. Or it does mean something, and we've already solved it. And trying to make it a bigger thing is just something that we do because we're stupid humans and try and make something more than it is. But I think we've solved all of the possible things that we can solve. I don't want anyone to stop hunting.
No, keep going.
It's key that you keep going and find more things, because there is lots of other things to investigate.
Yeah. I just thought when we were talking about it there, obviously one of the other possible theories with the game was having a hidden area somewhere in Fort Zancuda. So obviously we've previously investigated the sort of flight control tower you can get into, and that's
and the elevator
got an interior and an elevator, but you can get into that. You don't have to mod it or do anything. You can do that in the console versions. But people have looked at an area beneath the UFO over Fort Zancuda, and there's like sort of an elevator type door there that people are trying to get into, and I think it's quite telling that nothing has appeared in Fort Zancuda as part of this sort of interiors mod as well.
There's no interior there either.
No.
More disappointments.
I know. Oh, sorry.
Well, let's move on to something that's a little bit more cheery. If you've got anything you want to add into the Jetpack Chiliad discussion, get in touch with us on Twitter at GTA V O'Clock, or on Facebook, facebook.com/GTA V O'Clock, or leave a comment below. But the happier thing is that GTA 5 has a magic window that we've only just discovered since the game had come out. Now, this was originally found on Reddit, I think, by Commando.
Yeah.
Good name. And it's a basic set of instructions, and it allows you to strip textures off cars. Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah. It just like looking through this pane of glass, it makes things look different. It looks like maybe it was set up with a certain sort of filter on it to filter certain things out, but it does only apply to certain textures. So some things you look through look the same or almost the same, and other things are completely sort of stripped down back to sort of grayscale.
Okay.
It just looks a bit weird.
So to do this, you go to West Vinewood, Vinewood Hills. I think we should have a location on screen for you now if you want to go check it out.
Yeah. It's actually a house that you might recognise if you've played the game a lot. That it's quite near Franklin's safe house up in the hills, and when you drive past it, sometimes you get a random event with a guy who's sort of been kicked out of the house by presumably his wife, because he's at the golf club all the time, and she's throwing all his clothes and golf clubs on
off
the
the balcony.
Yeah,
I took her to the Ultras camp.
Yes, you can.
Or him.
You can do that. So that's the actual house where this window is on the balcony. But so if you go there and you've not done it before, that might pop up the first time. But when you go back, the balcony should be clear, and you can climb up and have a look through.
Have a little look around.
Yeah.
It's
weird. It's certainly with certain coloured vehicles, you can see a big difference with it. When you sort of look across the street, some of the pavement and grass and stuff is changed, and other bits aren't, so that looks a bit odd. There's also, I think, a few people have pointed out on things covering this, like fire isn't affected by it. So if you start blowing stuff up, you still see that as normal through this window.
All right, well, that's a fun thing to go and check out while you're
something different to have a look at
while you're wallowing in the misery of not having a jetpack. You can go and blow things up in there and see the difference that happens to the textures.
Is it worth mentioning what we were discussing the other day about the fact there's not actually been any jetpack mods?
Yeah, that surprises me that all these mods are coming out on PC. You'd think someone by now would have modeled a jetpack and put it in the game.
Yeah, exactly. I guess a lot of the mods we've seen have been using existing assets and things in the game and dropping huge whales into the streets and flooding everything and things like that. So I don't know how easy it would be to actually put something new that you've created yourself into the game. But there's been a few. I've seen a mod which sort of modifies the way you fall with a parachute before you open it, where you're sort of doing the skydiving part, which you can actually use to kind of fly around the city and fly back up again and sort of stay up in the air indefinitely by the looks of it. So that's sort of flying around. There's no jetpack at the end of the day.
No. So. And I've seen the no water mod and the tsunami mods. Yeah. Those are things I'm pretty sure we had on the PS3 and Xbox 360
I would have thought
versions.
the Xbox One was the Xbox One had some modding done to it.
Yeah. So we've seen it before. So people have investigated the ocean floor as well and not found very much apart from a load of dead fish and whales. But do keep on the hunt. Don't let this discourage you. And let us know if you find anything. And we will report back on it next Wednesday at 5 p.m. BST.